But you say it's too late. You got inside my head, my head. It doesn't hurt me anymore. I want you, you. Don't want you to leave. You stay with me. I want you, you. Don't want you to leave. You stay with me. I want you, 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 you. You have to know I want you. Stay with me, I want you, you. Don't want you to leave, you stay with me, I want you, 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 you. Oh, I want you.
it's working. Okay. Hi, everyone. How is everyone today? I hope good. I hope you can hear me. I'm trying not to, like, blast your ears out, but at the same time, I feel like I'm always so quiet. Like, no matter how loud I try to be, it's like... Maybe it's just my headphones. I think I need new headphones, because these ones... I mean, they're cheap, so... But, you know, they work for now. Yeah. Well, I got good news this morning. I woke up and my first thing in my inbox was that I got affiliate on Twitch, so I'm super excited about that. Started filling out all that paperwork, but they said it could take up to 3 days before we actually start, like, you know, all the fun things we get to do when you're a Twitch affiliate and have, you know, bits and all that, and subscribers and all that jazz. So I am one, but I have to fill out paperwork before it all starts. So probably by next week, hopefully sometime, we can start doing all that fun stuff with the bits and the emojis and all that. I have my emojis on here. I just gotta... And there's some I might need to find too, because we've had other things that we've talked about on here about having emojis, so I might have to find, like, a scary clown or it or something. But, yeah. So one of my viewers told me that we should do a video on, like, Disney and Christians, because Christians have always kind of had this clash with Disney, because... Pop-Tart Jesus emoji. Yes, I have a Pop-Tart Jesus emoji. So as soon as they let me, you know, put all that on, I'll have a Pop-Tart Jesus emoji. I have hell fries. I'm gonna find a clown. I'm sure I have other stuff too. I just can't remember everything right now, but yes, we will have Pop-Tart Jesus emojis that you can use through my live stream. Yeah, but one of my followers said that we should look into, like, you know, Christianity and Disney, because a lot of Christians were, like, anti-Disney a lot, and they find things in movies and stuff that aren't really there, or they make up things so that people don't actually... I don't even know. It's just ridiculous. And I get it, because I grew up in the Disney age, where, you know, they would always say, like, oh, this is evil because it's satanic, or this is evil because it does this, and this is linked to, you know, I don't know. I can't think of specific ones right now, but there was always that thing where you weren't allowed to see that kind of stuff with the Disney stuff. But I can't think of any Disney movies that I wasn't, like, allowed to watch, though. I have a clown. I'll send it to you soon. Oh, goodness. I have to show the clown up here. Yeah, if you guys send me stuff, I might do a Christmas stream. People send me Christmas stuff. If I get enough stuff, you know. I can do a little opening and fun Christmas stuff, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of anything Disney that, like... Well, Fantasia. Okay, Fantasia's the one exception that I can think of, because there's a demon in it. And my parents, like, I got that for, like, I don't know, my 3rd or 4th birthday, maybe. And I remember we watched it one time, and my parents, like, freaked out because there was a demon in one part. And they're just like, nope. Which is weird, because we kept the VHS. And I had it for a long time here, too. Like, just sitting in my house, because we had VHSs. I finally got rid of all my VHSs, like... I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, but yeah, I had that for a long time. But in my household, like, it wasn't Disney as much as it was Harry Potter. My mom was, like, anti-witch anything, because I don't know how much of this is true, probably none of it, but she claims that when she was a teenager, she went to a bookstore and she wanted to be a witch. And she said she opened up the book, and, like, the first thing in the book, which I highly doubt, because, like, I have, you know, reliable sources on here and in my Twitter that actually know about, like, witch stuff. But yeah, she said she opened the book and the first thing it said is that she had to curse God. And she wasn't going to do that because you know, she was a good Christian girl and that's just not okay. So she said she shut the book and she put it back on the shelf and she walked away. And I'm just like, I don't know, growing up it was weird because I never felt like the stories I was told by my parents were like real life stories. Some Christian on Twitter's mad that I'm an atheist witch. That's ridiculous. I don't understand like why people get so... It's ridiculous, but a Fantasia DVD. Yeah, I do not have a Fantasia DVD. I was trying to like downsize because we have an old school TV because like we have Duck Hunt and stuff because we have an NES, and that our Duck Hunt doesn't work on like the new TVs. We tried it, so we had to get like a TV from Goodwill, but it had a VHS player on it, so we just ended up... Okay, bye Tons of Mice, thanks for coming. Yeah, it had a VHS on it, so we just went to like the cheap stores and bought all the VHSs that were like $1, and you know, it worked out for the kids for a while because we had it in the playroom and they could just watch whatever they wanted, because most of them were like Disney and stuff. Christian mom says it's a demon. Yeah. Oh, what was I saying? Yeah, but yeah, it's weird. So we're gonna watch some of this video today. I have to leave at 4, so that's only an hour. So if we don't get through it all, we might have to finish tomorrow. But we'll see. This is a shorter video though, so I was hoping we get through it, but even my short videos, just commenting on them takes hours sometimes, so we'll see what they have to say. Safe for Christians? Is Disney safe for Christians?
Disney is a mastermind when it comes to creating seemingly family-friendly products. Whether it's a film or a cartoon or an amusement park, Disney has convinced the masses that it's simply good, clean fun. But at a closer examination, something more sinister is underneath that innocent persona. A dark force not to be trifled with. You know, Disney has never been shy to showcase occult themes, but it seems that most of the content aimed at the young is becoming blatantly evil. Take, for instance, the movie called Descendants.
Oh my goodness. Blatantly evil. Disney is blatantly evil. Jafar is pretty evil. I mean, yeah, he uses... But he's awesome. Yeah, he uses, I don't know, kind of magic to... Or sorcery. I guess they call it sorcery. But it's kind of like the same with like the genies, because they're like the... In Islam, they're like the jinns, which are like not as good. I don't know. I heard you're not supposed to mess with jinns, so I don't know enough about it, but...
The logo alone should deter any awake Christian from wasting even a precious moment upon watching this.
He's gonna be upset that there's a bite in the apple because that shows, you know, not supposed to mess with the Fae either. That's true.
The plot should even sound the alarm that much more.
The next generation of villains arrives. Jay, son of Jafar.
What are you doing?
It's called stealing. It's like buying whatever I want, except it's free.
Evie, daughter of Evil Queen.
Because everybody at home is pretty as you.
I like to think I'm the fairest of them all.
Beauty is paid.
Carlos, son of Cruella de Vil.
This thing is a killer! This is a vicious, rabid pack animal.
Hey, who told you that?
My mother.
And now, daughter of Maleficent. They're at their best when doing their worst.
This glamorizes being
Son of
evil
bad
and makes it
CGI.
fashionable. In 2014, Disney made this story called Maleficent, a very satanic film that mesmerized many young people in its
Oh my
spell.
god. It's satanic because she's like supposed to be a witch. Is that what's happening here? I don't know what it is with Christians and witchcraft. I think a lot of it is because, like, the church makes it seem like witchcraft is satanic, but I've never seen any reason to believe that witchcraft is satanic. Like, it's not linked to anything satanic that I can think of. The Queen of Queens. Yeah, I think a lot of it is just ignorance and people not knowing what is actually going on. Because when I was in the church, I had no idea. Like, I was always told, like, that witchcraft was like Harry Potter, you know? Because people in the church believe that. Like, they 100% believe that these kind of things happen and that these kind of, I don't know, people can, like, move things with their brains and stuff. I don't know. But in the church, they say it's, like, demons. They'll say, like, all the magic that people do is just demonic forces that are really, like, moving things around and making you think that these things are happening. It all goes back to demons. Like, Christians are obsessed with demons and the demonic, and it's weird. If he saw my Book of Shadows, he'd become a fan of Catholics real quick. I just don't understand it. I guess because I grew up in it, like, it was just normal. You know? It wasn't like every day I was questioning whether or not, you know, witches and stuff actually existed, because I was always told they just existed, so I believed it, you know? And now I look back on it and I cringe that, you know, that is something that I actually believed, when there's nothing to back that up. And, you know, nobody in my church had probably ever talked to someone who actually, like, studied witchcraft or does witchcraft, you know? They have no idea what they actually believe or what they actually think or what they actually do. It's just they make up this idea in their heads of what they think it is. Because anything that is not of God is of Satan. Which is ridiculous, because there's way more things in this world than just, you know, good and evil, and, you know, there's gray areas and all kinds of things. But just sitting there and saying, like, you know, you can either be on God's side or you can be on Satan's side. Like, there's way more things that go into that, and that everything can't be from Satan. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Well,
well.
I know you. I walked with you once upon a dream.
There is evil in this world. Hatred.
I did see this movie in theaters, though. It was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. Just, like, knowing the backstory and stuff. But, you know, I went when I was... I'm pretty sure this came out when I was, 2015. I was probably still a Christian then. And I went with my husband, which I don't know if he was still a Christian then or not, and my father-in-law, who is a very devout Christian. We all watched it together, so...
And revenge.
the dictionary defines Maleficent as doing evil or harm, or harmfully malicious. Maleficent means destroyers of reputation. You know, the Bible also speaks of a malicious being that seeks to do us harm. In 1 Peter 5, verse 8, it tells us to be...
So apparently he's saying Maleficent is of the devil, or is the devil. I don't know if they can actually say that, though, because I don't think they would ever put a woman in a place like that. It gives her too much power. And especially in the evangelical church, because it's very much about, you know, men are in power, women, no power for women.
Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. If you consider the comments left on Maleficent's movie trailer's YouTube page, it reveals the effect that it has on its viewers. One commenter, ironically named Christian Alexia, writes this: "I usually like the good people in movies, but how can I not like this wonderful villain, which the role is played by Angelina Jolie? The Bible is very clear about sorcery and witchcraft."
So, you're not allowed to like, anything, anything that has to do with, well, he said witchcraft and stuff, but even to go so far to say, like, you can't like a movie villain because that means that you like bad people. And if you like bad people, then you're liking Satan. It's a stretch. It's a big stretch that they put into play in order to make... Whoops, sorry. Christians just have to make anything that's not what they think reality is be wrong. Even if it's a made-up movie from Disney.
And warns us to have nothing to do with it. The Bible says in Deuteronomy 18, verse 10 through 12, "There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord." On this verse alone, Christians have...
Unless you do any of those things in the name of God. Yeah, exactly, Leon, yeah. Wait, Jesus brought Lazarus back from the dead. Yeah, but that's God power. God power is allowed, but any other power isn't allowed because any other power means that it's from Satan. But only God can have all the power. And if God doesn't have all the power, then he can't be God. It's just a way for them to get away with, you know, their teachings and saying that their God is all powerful. But it doesn't make any sense because if Satan can do the exact same thing God can do, like, then how is, like, if he's all powerful and then he gives Satan dominion over the earth and Satan has dominion over the earth, but he's as powerful as God, like, it doesn't make any sense, and it can't make sense, and it's so weird to me, like, when I see movies about, like, demonic possession and, like, stories about demonic possession, because they're always like, oh, but God is greater, but it's like, if God is greater, then why in the world does it, you know, take days or months or years to supposedly get rid of these evil entities if you have, you know, this secret knowledge from God that's going to get rid of those things? Like, something doesn't add up in that whole atmosphere. It just doesn't work that way, so... And that's one thing that gets me, is that it doesn't, you know, if there was real God power in the world, like, it would be seen. People would be healed. You know, they have that whole, like, God doesn't heal amputees website. Well, yeah, because if God really did that, there'd be no doubt there was a God or some kind of power in this universe that people could use. And I'm on the 700 Club getting paid to spout bowl. Yeah, it's just... It's so frustrating because Christians give a pass on all that stuff to themselves, but they don't give a pass to all that stuff on other people because they say it's satanic. But it's like, why can't you just let people live the way they want to live then? If, you know, your God's greater or whatever, then supposedly Satan, eventually he's going to win anyway. So why do you care if they practice, you know, calling upon demons or divination or any of that? It has nothing to do with you at all. It's just you not wanting people to live their lives and do whatever they want.
Have no business watching any of these films that contain the very elements that are an abomination to God. But perhaps you're thinking, I would never let my children watch such a film. I only let my children watch the Disney classics. So let's back up and let's review some of those Disney classics. The story of Snow White includes witches, magic mirrors, sorcery, and spells.
Oh no.
Slave in the magic mirror, come from the farthest space, through wind and...
How dare anyone have an imagination and make up this terrible movie about things that can't be proven? Like, I don't know. It's ridiculous. Have you ever seen a magic mirror talk to you? Because unless you have, like... Unless you, like, at Disneyland, but, you know, that's not... Those are special effects, dude. You have to, like, actually know what's happening. Yeah, looking in Black Mirror. Yeah, I've heard of that. I saw, oh, what was that show? The Zach Baggins show where he was, like, showing the stuff around his museum and everything. They talked about, like, the divination that they do inside the mirror, because they have a mirror there that people supposedly faint in. But it's, you know, that kind of stuff is way different than, you know, a mirror coming to life and talking to you. I don't know. There's a difference between, like, you know, people practicing their own religion and choosing to practice whatever they want versus believing in imaginary things as real because you think they're evil or against your God. Like, it just blows my mind how far they take things sometimes in the Christian church. I mean, this is why we had the Satanic Panic, because Christians went crazy at anything that they thought Satan was using to lure kids away from God. And it's like, Halloween doesn't lure kids away from God. You know, watching movies about witches doesn't lure kids away from God. Do you know what does make kids walk away from God? The fact that they have brains and can actually think and can actually go and read a book that tells them, you know, how things in the Bible don't line up with reality, and how we don't live in a world where, you know, mirrors can just magically talk to you. And I don't know, it's just frustrating to me that they put so much emphasis on things that can't be proven. And, you know, I don't mind if you practice whatever. Like, if you want to be a witch, that's fine with me. I have no issue with that. The issue I have with religion is that, you know, the religion I grew up in, it was very much you have to push it on everyone else, because otherwise America will fall, because God will no longer keep us as his chosen nation, because we are the Christian nation. And I don't know. It's a bunch of BS that Americans make up in churches, saying that, like, Christians are basically the shield between man and Satan, and if we let anything bad happen, then, you know, it's our fault. It's always our fault.
Darkness, I summon thee. Speak!
Cinderella, even in the opening scene, they tell you that it's an enchanting story about magic. The Bible is clear. No enchanter, no magic. In The Little Mermaid, there's witches, there's spells. In the story of Pocahontas, she consults a familiar tree spirit to guide her.
But Grandmother Willow, what is my path? How am I ever going to find it?
Your mother asked me the very same question.
She did?
Pocahontas.
What did you tell her?
I told her to listen. All around you are spirits, child. They live in the earth, the water, the sky. If you listen, they will guide you.
Jasmine is supposed to marry the prince, but instead she falls in love with the thief.
Oh.
This also contains magic and sorcery.
Bad boys.
Mulan's best friend is a little red dragon who
Watch out for them bad boys. No bad boys for you, Christian girls.
lies to her and speaks to the dead. which is necromancing. The Prince and the Frog is all about voodoo.
I love that movie. Everyone thinks I'm ridiculous for liking that movie. I think it just kind of takes me back to, like, my childhood, how a lot of the movies were, like, you know, more of the animated style. So when Princess and Frog came out, I was super excited. And I thought it was awesome. I loved all the voodoo and all that in it. I think it really, you know, applied to that culture and applied to what they were trying to portray. But yeah, I know a lot of Christians probably were like anti-Princess and Frog because of all that. Because once again, it's not about, you know, the truth of voodoo or actually looking into it and seeing like where it came from and its roots and what they actually believe. It's just ignorance of the fact that it's something they don't understand, so it's Satan, or it must be Satan, or it must be satanic. Like, it's just, that kind of stuff is frustrating. And I'm sorry, but most, like, Disney movies have bad guys in them, and they don't have to always be, like, witches and warlocks and things like that. That's just a way that Disney uses magic. Like, there's good magic and there's bad magic. And I mean, he didn't say anything about Genie. Like, why didn't he say anything about Genie? Genie uses magic too, and he's not a bad guy. Like, you're picking and choosing what you want to fit your narrative, instead of actually looking at, you know, the overall themes in the movies or whatever. He'd be ripped to shreds. No. Yeah. No. Don't be going after Genie. Everybody loves Robin Williams. That's so true. Yeah, but it's just, it's picking and choosing what you want. And I bet you anything that, you know, there are some things that this guy probably lets his kids watch that have themes in them that other Christians would be like, what? Why would you let your kids watch that, you know? You know, there's always going to be someone who has a different opinion about those type of things. But I don't know. It's, you know, Disney's whole thing is about magic and imagination, and I don't know, just for me it's like nostalgia, because it's a huge part of my childhood. And even my kids, like, they watch Disney stuff too. I mean, they have like their stuff which has come out in the last few years, like Moana and Coco, but I think Disney does a really good job of, you know, showing other cultures and, you know, trying to get kids more interested in not just, you know, the culture you're raised in, and that there's a whole world full of different kinds of people that do different things. And, you know, diversity, I think, is important. And I mean, Disney's not perfect at it. They definitely, it's not like a perfect, but I think it really helps kids see that there are, you know, other ways people live. There are other ways that people think about things, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to be a white American Christian person to, like, be a good person in this world. And unfortunately, I live in a country that thinks that that's the only way, which is horrible. Hocus Pocus. I never seen Hocus Pocus. It came out when I was younger, so I was more on the Halloween Town train, because Halloween Town came out when I was a kid, and that's what we watch every year for Halloween. Like, my kids even ask to watch it now, because it's like, it's been a tradition for me, because, you know, I grew up on that movie, because we had Disney Channel growing up, and even when I went to, like, college and stuff, I got I found like a DVD or VHS, or I don't even know if it's on VHS by then, but it's probably DVD. You know, I would find it, and play it every year because that was kind of my tradition, and I started doing that with my kids. And like this Halloween, they came to me and was like, "Hey, can we watch Halloween Town? Like, it's time for Halloween." And so like they're continuing that whole thing. So yeah, Halloween Town is kind of our go-to, but yeah, I have not seen Hocus Pocus. I need to watch it. I don't have time right now. I'm doing so many other things right now. But yeah, they love Halloween Town, and it's nice because we live close to like the place it was shot in, and they do like a special like Halloween Town thing every year, which I've never actually gone to, and I should. Like a couple years ago, they actually had all the actors and actresses from the movie and stuff there, but yeah, one of these days, that is one of my dreams, is to go out there, and maybe when my kids are a little bit older and like want to do more of that stuff, that would be fun.
Got things I ain't even tried, and I got friends on the other side. He's got friends on the other side.
And of course, Mickey is the sorcerer himself.
This is the one my parents
Now, according
needed.
to the Disney Wiki, magic is used throughout all of the Disney universe. This article goes on to say, the morality of magic is how it's used. Some use it for good, others for evil. And here are the types of magic that are used in Disney films: witchcraft, sorcery, voodoo, dragon magic, fairy magic, Disney magic, and these are the known magic users. The Disney universe beholds a number of magic users: mages, sorcerers, witches, wizards, coming in all shapes and sizes. There are some who use magic for good and benevolent purposes, and others for wicked and selfish or fiendish goals. And some that are
Yeah, I think that kind of that kind of implies everybody, though, because yes, there are bad people who use bad, magic in the real world or whatever, and they use good magic, It's, saying that, like, good and evil are, like, opposite of each other, when, I don't know. I feel like it's much deeper than that, and that's the problem. Like, there's a much deeper meaning to all of this, because for Christianity, it's all or nothing, Everything has to be about God, and if it's not, then it's about Satan. But that's just not how reality works. There are gray areas to everything, I feel like. Well, not everything, but, there are gray areas, and I think a lot of people, probably not in, like, my generation and younger, I think we're getting better about, not being so extreme to one end or the other, but at the same time, I mean, there's still people in the church today that are very extreme and very, like, no Disney, no Harry Potter, no, like, I don't want my kids to have an imagination or even think that these kind of things are real. I don't know. And maybe that goes a lot with the whole curiosity thing, too, because it's like, when they're little and they imagine things, it's like just for brain development, but when they get older and they're, like, doing that kind of stuff, parents have this fear that it's gonna, like, somehow lead them away from God. But I don't know. It just seems like a ridiculous notion in my mind. I think it's just another excuse for them to try to keep people in this bubble and, not look at other cultures and look at other ideas, because they don't like to look outside the one idea that they've been taught their whole lives.
indifferent to good and evil, and thus use magic for their own reasons regardless of good or evil. Here is a list in which Disney characters use good or evil magic. Now I'm sure that some of you may recognize a few of these names in this list. But once again, the Bible is very clear. We are to have nothing to do with these things, period.
The Bible is very clear. Well, that's not entirely true. I mean, the Bible says you're not nobody can see God face to face, and it also says that certain people did see God face to face and live. So, you know, there's issues with the Bible, but, you know, people aren't going to bring those things up because they don't want to know that their Bible isn't true. Yes, exactly. That is true too, Leon. Yeah, it's just ridiculous in my mind. You know, it's circular reasoning to say that anything in the Bible is true because we don't have any. Well, I'm not saying any. I'm sure there are some reliable things in the Bible, like historically, but a lot of the earlier stuff we know didn't historically happen because we have, like, evidence that there were other cultures and other nations and things that were around during these time periods, and the things that are claimed in the Bible, there's no way they could have happened at the time that they claim they happened. So I don't know. People are gonna make up what they want to make up and believe what they want to believe. And it is hard. It's hard to step away from something that you've believed in your whole life and, you know, shed that indoctrination and let yourself be free. But at the same time, I mean, from my point of view, it's worth it because I look at where I am now and I'm like, I'm a better person because of it. Like, I'm way more free now than I was when I was a Christian. Even though I was told I was more free because I was free in Christ and he gave me freedom to be a better person and to obey him and follow his laws, and go to heaven with him forever. But it really wasn't freedom. It was a cage disguised as freedom, and it wasn't worth it in the end once I found out that it wasn't true. Because now it's like I've wasted, all those years were wasted on something that literally meant nothing. Like, I was in a religion that there's nothing at the end. It's like people going on the search for the end of the rainbow and they keep walking and walking and they never get there. And then they finally figure out, you know, how to get there, and when they get there, there's nothing there. And that's how I feel with Christianity, is that I kept trying to find that end of the rainbow and I never could, and I couldn't figure out why. And when I finally stepped outside of the bubble and followed a different path to find the end of the rainbow, I found it. And there was nothing there. It was all a mirage, which made me think that, you know, there was something else that was going to be there, and there wasn't. It was a mirage. It was all in my head, and it was told to me by all the adults around me who honestly believed that those things existed because they had been indoctrinated by their parents who were indoctrinated by their parents who were indoctrinated by their parents. It's just this constant trickle down, and not at any point in that trickle down did someone go, has anyone, like, double checked that anyone else in this religion is, like, telling the truth? Or is everybody just believing it because their parents told their parents who told their parents? And I think that's what's happening in the church today, is a lot of people are finally waking up and realizing that, you know, this idea of just following authority and not questioning has led us to this point where people realize now they have to question, they have to look at things, and they can't just take people's word for it anymore because it doesn't always end up the way they think it's gonna end up. And I think a big part of that too is the internet, and just, you know, we live in the information age, but we also live in the misinformation age, because we can see, like, yes, we can get all the good information we need from, like, certain things, but we can also get misinformation from a lot of the social media sites and things like that, where it's like people will believe anything you tell them because they don't want to believe that something else is true, you know? like what we're going through now with, you know, the issues with I'm like trying to find another name for it because I know people get dinged for saying it on here, but you know. Yeah. Just the problems we have now with people not wanting to protect other people because of something that's happening. And they're not willing to sacrifice their freedom to protect other people. And this is what misinformation leads to, is people making things worse for everyone else around them because they would rather listen to misinformation than actually, like, look up what they are following and if it's true.
In fact, the Bible describes these practices as an abomination to the Lord, meaning that God hates these things. And if God hates them, do you think that we should have any involvement in watching them? You see, the classic cartoons open up the doorway for the dark.
Well, first you have to prove that God exists. And we deep dive again. And you have to prove that the Bible is true. You have to prove the Bible is true in order to prove that God exists. But even if the Bible is true, it doesn't mean the God of the Bible existed. There's just evidence that proves this book existed. There's no proof that the God that it's claiming exists in it is actually, you know, God. And once again, going down the rabbit hole, there's always more to the story. And this is the problem with Christianity, is it just scrapes the surface and it doesn't go deeper. Because if they went deeper, they're gonna find more problems that they don't want to deal with.
Darker movies down the road. It makes your heart grow fondly towards anything that Disney puts out. If you still question whether these things are good or bad, we've created a whole documentary called Magic Kingdom that would answer many of your questions. It's available on our website.
There's a whole documentary on this? Oh man, I need that. That's some prime called capitalism. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Man, I wish I could find that to stream, because that would be some amazing stream stuff. I feel like that would be amazing for a stream, just to watch all that and hear all the junk that they say about Disney and how it's satanic. You have to wonder if somebody put it on YouTube. I don't know if it's copyrighted, though. That's the other problem, is like DVDs you have to be a little more careful with, as opposed to like just watching a YouTube video.
Magic is sorcery. The Bible is full of examples of why we should have nothing to do with it. For instance, in 2 Chronicles chapter 33, verse 6, King Manasseh is condemned for...
But I thought we didn't follow the Old Testament. We're Christians, right? Choose hell fries. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is where the cherry picking comes, because they'll ignore other verses in the Old Testament that they don't want to, you know, like the Torah is forever, and it can't be changed. But they won't. The Old Testament, yeah. Yeah, and if you were raised Jewish, you would know, like, the Torah is an eternal, like, covenant between God and the Israelites. It's not, it wasn't supposed to be for, like, the Gentiles and for people outside of that group. Jesus even said, like, I don't remember which verse it was, but one of the verses he even said, like, I didn't come for those people. I didn't come for the Gentiles. I came for the Jews. And that makes sense if you know anything about the Jewish religion.
For his many evil practices, including sorcery. And he burned his sons as an offering in the valley of the son of Hinnom, and used fortune-telling and omens and sorcery, and dealt with mediums and necromancers. He did much evil in the sight of the Lord, provoking him to anger. The Apostle Paul also lists sorcery as one of the many sinful practices that mark the lives of unbelievers. Now the works of the flesh are evident, sexual immorality, impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, strife, things like these.
Oh, I found idolatry in there. That's a problem in Christianity because, you know, the Old Testament and the Torah both say that there's only one God, period. Like, it says there can't be any other beside God. And claiming Jesus was God, or even claiming that Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father, like, that's idolatry to Jewish people. So Christians are breaking their own rules by, you know, worshiping Jesus.
I warn you, as I've warned you before, that those who do such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. Galatians 5:19 through 21. Romans 1:32 states very clearly, who knowing the judgment of God, they that which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. If
God, like Allah, has no son. Yeah, that's why they always say that, like, Jewish people and Muslims are a lot closer in, like, the way that they view their religion than Christianity is, because they have a lot more things that align as opposed to Christianity that just completely went off the rails and went like, oh, who cares about laws and rituals and all this? Well, not completely, because they still have communion and baptism, but, well, Protestant Christianity. That's what I came from. Like, the only things we have are communion and baptism. And then we also have child dedication, which, that's a whole other thing. Like, shouldn't be dedicating your child to anything when they are a month old. Like, they don't know, and they're not going to make that commitment, and I don't know. It's ridiculous, but yeah, I've always heard that the Jewish faith and the Muslim faith is a lot more, they're just more close to each other in that regards, as opposed to Christians who are just like, nope, we're done with everything. We're just gonna not follow any laws and say a magical prayer and go to heaven. Okay.
If we simply enjoy the things that the Bible defines as sin, for example, magic and sorcery, we are worthy of that same judgment by taking pleasure in watching others commit those sins. Well, that pretty much sums up quite a few of Disney's princess movies. It's truly sugarcoating the occult. So let's fast forward to today, and let's talk about Frozen.
Oh God.
Most likely, many of you have seen this movie. And if you haven't, I'm sure you've heard the songs because your nieces and nephews have sung every word 1,000 times. Remember, the devil is the most subtly created being there ever was. Deception often lies amongst the most seemingly innocent things.
Most innocent things. I just took my kids to Disney on Ice a couple weeks ago. Oh my goodness. As soon as Elsa and Anna came out, every little girl in that auditorium, they were screaming at the top of their lungs. Like, Frozen is, I don't even know. It's like every girl's little dream right now. It's crazy.
Error usually piggybacks off of truth. And despite the obvious reasons not to watch the movie, such as magic and sorcery, the film was praised for its noble qualities. Your actions affect others, the need for self-control, the power of sacrifice, and don't judge a book by its cover. But in all this truth, there lies a dangerous error. When Elsa decides to build her own ice castle, she sings that song, Let It Go. And the lyrics say, no right, no wrong, no rules for me, I'm free. This is a most dangerous philosophy.
Oh my God. Says the Christian man who got rid of the 630 commandments in the Old Testament because he doesn't want to follow them. Because the Christianity is about forgiveness and salvation as opposed to obeying laws. 630 what? There's like 630 different laws that the Old Testament or in the Torah that Jewish people are supposed to follow. And that's why a lot of like Jewish people today, like, they still do kosher, and you know, they have certain like devices on like their ovens and TVs and stuff during the Sabbath because they are not allowed to actually do any work. 6 minutes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're gonna have to stop this pretty soon, but...
Philosophy to plant into children's minds. You see, the 10 Commandments are our only guide for right and wrong.
Oh, so we got rid of the other 620. We're just doing the 10 now. But which 10?
Where there is no rules, there is only chaos. In fact, it's not only Disney that promotes this confusion of right and wrong. The Despicable Me series is all about making the villain as the hero. The poster for the movie says, when the world needed a hero, they called a villain. When in reality, the world does need a hero, a savior. We need Jesus, but not a cosmic villain or the devil. You see, Hollywood ropes viewers in with these cute, funny little characters. But if you just open your eyes to the real message of the movies, you will see. In the movie The Minions...
I mean, it's just backstory for the Minions. They're not, like, purposely trying to make you think that... Oh my god. See, this kind of stuff is just ridiculous. They're not purposely, like, going out there and going, like, yes, we are satanic. We need to find some way to get the children. Like, that's how Christians act when it comes to these things. It's like, they think there's, like, some satanic cult behind all these things, and they're just secretly finding ways to lure children away from God. Like... It's a freaking movie. It's for entertainment purposes only, people. Like, oh my gosh. This kind of stuff is ridiculous. There's like 4 minutes. Okay. I'm going to stop it there, and we can finish up either tomorrow or tonight or whenever I can figure out when to finish it, because I have to go see a movie with my kids. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to my awesome patrons. You guys are amazing. I'm really glad that I get to do this every day and hang out with all of you. Thank you everyone who who followed. And, you know, got me to 50 so I can be an affiliate now. Yay! Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here and do this. So, yeah, go check out my other stuff if you want to. I'm working on a Christmas video for my YouTube, so hopefully that'll be out eventually. Anyways, I will see you all later. Have a wonderful day.